Welcome back, Savages. And tonight we're doing story time. We're doing something a little different. We are going to do some stories that we found. These are from different places on the internet. We just thought they were something that we would want to kind of read, talk about, go from there. So the first story we have tonight is called Not a Believer. This was found on Reddit in the ghost stories category. Username is Antimatter0. It was a cool story. I read it a couple times. It's definitely something that I've similarly been through. So it was kind of cool to find somebody else who has been through the same type of situations. So he starts off by saying, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I watched Smile 2, which that movie is gross. Great movie, by the way. He thought so. I didn't. I've always been gullible to horror movies, and my nerves have always been jumpy. I'm spooked easily, but the feeling never lasts long. Needlessly to say, Smile 2 scared the crap out of me. After a week, I was able to watch it without a single care. After the second watch, without my wife and I were laying down getting ready for bed when she asked if I believe in the paranormal. I don't. I do like the concept, though. I gave her my answer, and she asked if I ever had weird experiences. I have. Only 2, though. My first came when I was attending Job Corps, which I've heard on a few other ghost story podcasts, and apparently that whole section is haunted.
It doesn't surprise me. A lot of the military boot camp.
It's haunted. Yeah, according to this, it's a trade school, and I've heard that everybody has experiences there. For about a year, I had no roommate. I slept fine, never been disturbed. One day, me and a buddy get the option to have him move in. Bacon, what I'm calling him, was a chill guy. He loved horror. He knew I spooked easily, so he never troubled me with any of his stories. One morning, I noticed he looks as if he hasn't slept. I asked, and Bacon said that it was the heat. It made sense at the time. It was summer and ACs were out due to overuse. About 2 days later, I have this chilling dream. You can kind of compare it to sleep paralysis. I never dream, especially night terrors. I had one as a kid, but I knew it was a dream. This felt so incredibly different. I didn't have a lock for my closet. It basically, what he says is basically a smaller room with a bunch of hangers, a door, and a hatch that needs to be locked with combination lock for a closet for the longest, and used a pencil to slide through the holes. Never had a problem. There were 3 closets, one for him, one for me, and one huge one in the middle. I'm guessing it was kind of like a room within a room. Both his and the middle were locked. The middle didn't have a lock, and I assumed it had been glued shut or something. In the dream, I was laying on my back with only my head out of the covers. I never sleep like this, and I sleep on my stomach with my arms tucked underneath me and the pillow on my head. All 3 closets were wide open. It felt as if something was watching me. I thought this was real life. I go to move, but as I move, my body gradually becomes heavy, and the feeling like when your arms fall asleep. It says, I give up, but it's like the closets were just glaring at me. I felt this horrifying chill. I still do when I think about it. That just made me want to get out of the room. I push through the heaviness and the dead arm feeling, but as I touch the handle, my body gets so unbearably heavy, and the ringing in my ears goes haywire. I get the door opened, and I collapse in the hallway. He says the door is a pull, not a push. And then I wake up, same position as the dream, on my back, arms at my side. I'm sweating a bit, but maybe it is the heat. I convinced myself it was a nightmare. I sit up and my heart dropped so low, I cried right there. Only my closet door was wide open, pencil snapped in 2 on the ground near my bed. I closed it, put a pencil in it, got ready for my trade, and left. I asked my roomie if he opened my closet door this morning, and he said it was closed with a pencil this morning. Another time was actually recently, about 2 months ago, before we watched Smile 2. My wife and I were having intimacy when I felt the urge to look over my shoulder. That's a crappy time. I've been in the military for a while, so I always have the urge to look behind me. My wife and I don't have a door for our room. It's just 2 curtains. God, that's awful. We also own a duplex and currently renting out the other room to this little short Mexican lady. We also have the only washer and dryer in our room. Important for later. But we have a door that's unbearably loud when it's opened or closed that separates us from the rest of the house and the spare room. I saw a head-shaped object poking through. My first thought was the Mexican lady, but she's like 4'5". That is not possible. This head was damn near touching the roof, 8 feet total from the floor to ceiling. I double take and watch as the shape quickly retreats. I grab my flashlight off the side of the bed and dash into the little hallway before the loud door. Nothing. I'm scared shitless. I might be overreacting, but I'm not sure. I rarely see things like this, and I have no reason to be spooked prior to seeing it either. I also add that we just had a baby 2 months ago before this incident. I haven't told my wife and lied, saying I think the lady wanted to wash clothes and peeked in and saw us. I don't ever planning on telling her, and I'm also moving us out and just going to rent both rooms from now on. Even though I'm still getting chills from these experiences, I still don't believe in the paranormal. Maybe I'm just a wimp with a lot of trauma. So I loved everything about that story.
Yeah.
Because he is the epitome of a skeptic.
Yes.
You saw it happen both times. You had some kind of experience and you're still like, no.
No.
It didn't happen.
No.
So yeah, as I was saying, there's a whole category on the Job Corps trade school, which I think is, I know there's a couple in Canada, and I think there's a couple like some of the bigger cities, and all of them have experiences of being haunted somehow. But the sleep paralysis thing, that's a common thing.
That's really common.
And for people who don't experience it a whole lot, when it happens, it's a scary situation. I know that I'm awake because I know that I've opened my eyes for like a brief second. Jeff says I yell at people. A lot of the dreams when I have it, it's like a nightmare, ghost related or whatnot. And he says that I've yelled like, you're not welcome here. Don't come near me. I know that I've done it because I felt myself saying it. Mm-hmm. But not being able to move or wake up is a scary situation.
I don't think I've ever...
I don't recommend it at all.
No. I really don't think I want to do that.
No.
I've heard enough stories about it, but no, I don't think I've ever.
No, it's a scary situation. The Mexican lady part was funny.
I want to know how he saw what he describes as an 8-foot person looking in his door, but can still say, no, it didn't happen.
Right. That whole thing is...
That's one thing I can see being a skeptic. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things I've seen, heard. When you see the person or thing that's 8 feet tall looking in your doorway, how do you say no, that didn't happen?
Yeah, you can't. Did it go back to the beginning? Okay.
No, this is the other one.
Yeah, that whole thing. With him being in the military, you know military people, they've seen things. And for him to still be a little skeptical is comical.
Yes.
But for him having experiences is pretty cool. But he still doesn't acknowledge that it happened.
Right. I don't know. And his wife seems pretty
because
okay
she doesn't,
with the idea.
Well, she doesn't know from the sounds of it is he hasn't told her anything like that has happened.
Right, but she seems like more of a believer in that. If I was him, I'd been like, yo, I just saw this 8-foot thing peeking in the doorway.
After fun time, I would have told her. But yeah, if she's willing to believe and you think things are happening, you should probably tell her, especially with having a baby in the house. You never know what you could be dealing with.
I think I probably would have been packing up the kid right then and there and be like, no, we're out.
That's kind of where I would have gone with that too.
So here's another. I actually have not read this one yet. This is a long story.
Probably as long as mine.
Yeah. So this one is another sleep paralysis story. This one we got from yourghoststories.com. This is from Slovenia.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, those are like good areas for haunting.
It says the author is a middle-aged adult. It is from March of 2022. Her name is Abix. Sleep paralysis. This is a fairly new subject of research for me, but also for most other people. The subject started being researched about 20 years ago. The phenomenon was allegedly always known through history. People used to attribute it to demons, ghosts, and other malevolent entities visiting people during sleep. There are, of course, also some scientific explanation of why this happens. Some more mundane explanations. Something to do with waking up during the REM sleep phase, which, yes, that is what I have heard.
Yeah.
This is most likely caused by sleep deprivation or not being constant in one's sleep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
The body during this phase is paralyzed. It's a natural safety mechanism to prevent us from moving too much when sleeping.
Well, that's crap because I toss and turn all the time.
I think it's more for not getting up and acting out the things in your dreams.
Oh, yeah. I have never done that, thank God, but I yell.
Basically, sleep paralysis is like a terrifying version of a lucid dream experience. It is all so vivid, and the feeling of helplessness is palpable.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. I never had intense sleep paralysis before. Well, not that I knew of. Although I do vaguely remember some very short and confusing mild episodes of it. Once upon falling asleep, I distinctly heard someone shouting in my ear, I think it was my name, and making me wake up. Then I heard breathing when no one is there. Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
Once I reckon I experienced my bed covers and sheets being pulled off. Nope. But I'm not 100% sure this happened because it might have also been a dream or a dream within a dream. Matter of fact, all that happened during my sleep, so it was kind of shocking to experience it.
Some of these are probably translated.
This was especially intense for that short time when my brain didn't have enough information to classify what was happening to me as a dream or an awake episode, and that made it feel that much more real for me. Tonight, though, I distinctly remember I was dreaming that I was in my living room lying on the couch and watching TV. Then all of a sudden my body started to shake. It felt so real and powerful, an uncontrollable shaking feeling, and I couldn't do a thing but let it happen. It sounds more like a seizure to me. Then I woke up. I was in my bed in the exact same position I fell asleep in. I heard a child giggling. I watched the top of my bed sheets and cover being pulled up in the air like a half a meter above my head. I tried to keep calm and kept my nerves steady. Instead of feeling scared, I was feeling angry and annoyed.
I would be.
Yeah,
Go away.
Then the sheets of my bed suddenly moved by themselves, fell and covered my head. And immediately after, at least 3 of these ghost children were running and jumping on my bed, specifically right above my head, like trying to make me feel scared. I felt none of their body weight, but I saw the sheets and covers getting bent like there were invisible entities jumping on the bed. I remember trying to pull my arms back, and I was ready to swing full force with both of them and catch whatever was jumping, or at least try to shoo it away.
Fight or flight.
But surprisingly, I couldn't swing my hands at all. I couldn't even move them. I was completely paralyzed, felt so powerless, and remember I couldn't make a sound as well. Then I heard a deep voice that sent shivers down my spine coming from my left side. As I turned to the left to face it, I suddenly and finally woke up, super confused and trying to make sense of what just happened. It felt so unbelievably real. Then I started to think and realized that what just happened, it couldn't have been real. It wasn't possible because of 2 reasons. I remember in the nightmare my bed sheets distinctively having a pattern, which my sheets do not. And also, in reality, I had my right side of the bed covered with something heavy. It is literally impossible to lift the sheets and covers up high above my head without removing that stuff first. What I experienced literally couldn't have happened, and I'm ultimately glad for that.
I don't know if I believe all of it. I mean, I know a lot of the time they say that sleep paralysis can happen because your brain is trying to do too many things at one time. And if something like a movie really messed with your brain before you go to bed, it has that effect. But that's a lot.
A lot of detail.
I know when I've gone through sleep paralysis or whatever I've been through, I remember the part of when it happened, but it's very quick. There's not a lot of detail.
Yeah.
But that was a whole...
Yeah, that
was really vivid.
If that really did happen, I don't think I would call it sleep paralysis.
No, that sounds more like a night terror.
A night terror, or like, we're going to throw the word out there, even though it's probably not, but little kids. So I would say it could have potentially even been somewhat demonic haunting, not sleep paralysis, because when those entities are around, they can pin you down so you can't move. It wasn't sleep paralysis. He was awake, but he wasn't.
Yeah, that whole like feeling the kids jumping on the bed or whatnot. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that I have felt somebody almost like sit on the edge of my bed, which scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But if you're getting the feeling of something jumping on the bed, that's like a whole other level
Yeah.
of things happening.
Yeah, because that's a little too invasive, I guess, to me, because A, it was kids. B, they were jumping on the bed, like around his head.
Yeah.
So there was malicious intent there.
I would definitely say that was more than sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I would say somebody's trying to get their attention pretty hardcore.
Yes. Now, was it simply to get his attention, or could it be something along the lines of, if it is the D word?
Demons, by the way.
Yes. Which I hate throwing that out there, because 99.9% of the time that's not what
demons.
it is. But we're using it as an example because, you know, people say anytime it's a kid, that's what it is. So if it is the D word, it could be one of those things where they're just trying to not let him get sleep for so many nights, because you wear them down and it makes them easier for oppression and possession and all those things.
Because the longer you go without sleep, the more your brain is like, whoa.
Yeah. And you're way more open to something attaching to you.
Yeah, the longer you go without sleep, it drives you crazy.
Or, I mean, could be something not paranormal at all, and somebody could have just been messing with him.
That tends to happen. And the whole shaking on the couch thing honestly does sound kind of like a seizure.
There's different
situation.
types of seizures. You don't have to go into the whole full-blown grand mal seizure right away. There's different ones that can start off just as tremors.
Yeah.
I would personally be looking for medical help for that before I called that paranormal. But that's just me.
That's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. It was a good story.
I know sleep paralysis is something that's becoming more common, especially with, because a lot of people are working from home. A lot of people have continued to work at home and haven't really transitioned back into civilian life. So a lot of people are staying up later, working longer hours because they can, and they're relying on caffeine to keep themselves
awake.
Energy
drinks is the big money maker right now.
Yeah, and sleep paralysis can happen as the longer your body's worn down.
Yep, and then you've also got all the medications for sleeping, anxiety, depression. All those medications can all have side effects. You've got the recreational medicines that can all have those kind of side effects.
Yeah, because some people use recreational things to sleep.
Yes.
But I know when I dabbled in
recreational activities,
I slept like a rock. I didn't move. I woke up in the same position that I passed out in. My friend thought I was dead because she was like, you just went out and you didn't move. But I did. I heard a little girl giggle, and I don't know what that was about. The same thing with sleep aids too, because they're meant to keep you asleep.
Yeah.
And if you're having a bad dream while taking that, because it is one of the side effects, I can definitely see where that's going to come into play with sleep paralysis, because your body's like, the meds you're taking are meant to keep you asleep. Your brain is trying to wake you up, and you're just like, what is happening?
Yep, your brain's trying to wake up, but meanwhile, the rest of your brain is telling your body, nope, you're still sleeping.
You got two halves of your
brains?
Yeah, two of your brains fighting each other, and your insides are screaming because you're like, I don't know what to do right now. And then all the stuff that your mind's working at, all of that together is just a combination for bad.
And then as you're waking up, you're still in that sleep state, so your brain is still dreaming. You could be seeing all these things that you're really dreaming, but you think you're seeing them because you think you're awake.
Well, I mean, that's like when you take NyQuil because you're sick. I know that I've woken up in the middle of my NyQuil doze, and I'm like, what is happening? Because your whole world's spinning, your eyes can't focus, and you just want to go back to sleep, but you're probably in the middle of a flu episode and throwing up everywhere. It's a good time.
Ooh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Me and NyQuil are not friends. Can't take NyQuil. If I take NyQuil, it has to be a weekend where I'm not working, or when I was in school, my mom gave me NyQuil once, and I slept through my alarm. I slept almost 15 hours. I can't take NyQuil.
Dude.
I can't take Benadryl. When I had to take Benadryl, I was just like...
I can drink, and I'm fine. I take one Benadryl, I can't even wake up in the morning.
And it even says on the package, like, non-drowsy sometimes. And I'm like, no, I'm still drowsy when I take Benadryl. But that just makes your brain kind of like mush, and anything can happen. The whole mind just does what it wants to.
I call it medicine head. Because you're just all foggy and jumbled.
I'm allergic to iodine because a lot of it's made from shellfish. And when I have to have procedures done, their recommendation is to take Benadryl. But take a high dose of Benadryl, and I look like a drug addict because I'm just like doping in and out, and my brain's just like...
She's seeing the purple elephant.
Yeah. And then by the time it wears off, you're just like, what happened? Because you pass out, but you don't really dream, but it's
so drug-induced.
You don't know what's up and down and left and right. And then when you wake up, you're like, what happened? Because you don't remember. Those are scary situations. That's why I could never do drugs.
Yes.
But yeah, I think a combination of all that can definitely lead to sleep paralysis. It's not something I ever want to experience again. I hate sleep paralysis. And it doesn't happen often, which is the crappy part, because if it happened more often, I would be prepared for it. But when it doesn't happen very often and it hits you, you're just like, I'm dead. I'm dying. This is it.
Yeah. Nope, never had it.
I don't recommend it.
All right, well, that's it for today. If you have any ghost stories that you would like to share, we'll read them. Or if you come across any really good ones, let us know.
Send them our way. We have an email address on our
website. You can Facebook message us.
Facebook, Instagram.
Well, maybe you can TikTok message us.
You can send us comments on YouTube if there's any of our videos you want to comment on. We are okay with ghost stories.
Yeah. So this is a new thing that we're trying. We want to continue because we think it's fun doing the ghost stories.
I don't do that part. She does that part. So, bye guys.
Bye.